Welcome back to the Reality Roundup. Today we'll be talking about Love is Blind, episodes 7 through 9. Thank you for watching. Please, as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Please comment. We want to talk to you. We want to hear from you.
Please clap, which is an old Jeb Bush meme.
What did you think of the episode?
I they were I think that this season is like not boring, but not
Mm-hmm.
so boring anymore. But to me, it's certainly not like my favorite season.
Yes.
And so it was just kind of like it is what it is. Plus, we have so many couples that it's like I feel like not the balance of time, but like for me, I guess the balance of time. Like there's some couples that I care more about that I want to hear more about, and there's some couples I really don't care about. And so it's kind of like, but I do feel like we got a lot of like drama more so toward the end of this series of 3 episodes, but
Mm-hmm.
that was pretty much it.
With this season, we're spending a lot of time on these romantic moments between the couples, but then we're missing like a lot of like the key information. Like we don't see the Alex and Tim thing, we don't
Oh,
see
yes.
the Steven and Monica thing. We're not seeing like
Yes.
really big moments, which I'm pretty sure they filmed. Like there's no way that they didn't film Monica confronting Steven, and there's no way that they didn't get footage.
Seems like we have a lot. It's the same amount of time we always do, but it seems like the days are dragging. Like when we get like the little like update at the corner about like
Because there's a
13
lot of
days.
couples, because there's a lot of
Okay, that's
couples, and
fair.
we have to see all of them.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It seems like we're trying to strike
Well,
a different tone, and
we're down
I'm
one
not a fan.
anyway, so this won't be a problem next week.
Dear God, I that was a
we might
mess.
be, we might be
You're in
down two
charge.
by the time next week finish. Well, then I wanted to start with Stephen and Monica.
Oh, you do want to start with Stephen and
Yeah,
Monica.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I will say that after seeing episode 8, like a lot of like Steven's I like behavior through the first 7 episodes kind of get recontextualized for me in
Absolutely,
like a different
completely and
way.
totally.
And like after I saw that, like when I started thinking back through some of the points of their relationship, I was like, "You're acting like you're here for the cameras, like aren't you?" And I think like prior to that, I had read him as this like really just like normal, um,
Absolutely.
like guy, right? Like maybe a little like weird with, but like really kind, really like thoughtful guy. Also, never mind, we'll get there. The
Yeah.
fireworks is the next thing I want to talk about.
The fireworks, yes. I mean, in the context of him talking to Garrett, right, Taylor's husband or fiance,
Hmm.
um, I thought that Monica was doing too much,
I
right?
didn't
I
like that
really
she was
did.
passive aggressive. I thought she was like well within her rights to be upset, especially because she like called him to it, like when she was going out, like, "Hey, like,
Fair enough.
please come, like, come on," and he's like, "Yeah, I'll be right there," and he didn't come out at all. He missed the entire thing. I just thought like when she came back, like the energy, the like passive aggressive. Also, like when couples
She
do
was,
that type of stuff like in front of other people, immediately disgusted by whoever's like doing it. Like, why are you bringing
no.
us into your mess? Like,
I don't like
immediately
that. I don't
disgusted.
like that. And then I thought that he had a perfectly reasonable explanation, which is like I was in an important conversation with Garrett. Now, whether or not we know that to be true is not
Yeah.
something we know,
After
but
after the fact, I was like, you weren't talking about nothing important with Gary. You were probably holding him hostage too with your chatty self.
well, I mean, he kind of, like you said a few seconds ago, Steven's behavior in what, 8, like recontextualizes all of his behavior before. That also got recontextualized almost immediately for me, where I was just kind of like, like you, like, because he gives too many details about his conversation with Garrett. Does that make
Do you
sense?
think that he and Garrett was talking about that? Do you think like Garrett pulled Steven to the side to be like, imagine like when we get out of here, how am I gonna deal with all the DMs? Like,
No, that's what I'm saying. Like he gives way, like he puts too much and he
oh,
gives
you
too
mean you
many
think
details.
he was like? I don't think he and
Yeah.
Garrett was having that conversation at all. I think he wanted to have
No.
that conversation with the girls. Okay,
No,
okay.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like his episode 8 behavior immediately recontextualized that moment for me where I was like, oh, he wasn't telling the truth. Like that was like,
Hmm.
no, he was being
No,
really
I
like
mean
weird.
he was telling the truth. He's like truthfully very creepy. It seems like.
Yeah. Are we ready to talk about?
Yeah, so I mean, they get back to DC after all of this, after we see them pack. Well, we first get a conversation from he and her where he tells her that he has lost his job. She's like, it's
Oh
okay.
yes.
I think she's really like supportive and, you know,
Yes.
normal in this instance. And she's like, I got your back. I'll be your sugar mama. Careful what you wish for.
Oh my God, a curse sentence immediately.
um,
Yes.
and and then the next time we see them, I don't think we see. Yeah, we don't see them after that. Oh no, they do go make flowers after
Oh, the
that.
pressed flowers. Yes.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
go and press flowers. She's hilarious in this scene. She's like competitive. She's like
Yes.
bothering the little flower lady to pick who's best.
That woman was just like, please don't make me do this. And she was like, which one is better?
Yeah.
I was like, oh my
she
God.
was she was funny in this. I do think there was a scene prior to this, I believe, where she's like, "Now we can shop and get this," and they're like naming things. She's like, "In flowers," and he's like, "In wine," and he's in flowers.
Yes.
So, but in this
And
scene,
beer. And yeah.
in the flower pressing scene, she's like very very funny.
Yeah.
She seems like a lovely girl, I will say, like for the most part,
So,
other than like this
yeah.
little like communication quirk with her partner. We see
Yeah.
why she's single. Um,
I didn't
I
want to say
mean,
it.
we see why she's single because like other than this, she seems like a really lovely woman.
Yeah.
Then we actually get Taylor and Monica sitting on the couch, and
Yeah.
at first I was like, did something happen? We don't see what happens, we just see the aftermath. I'm like, what happened? Is it Garrett? Is it Steven? Like, what's going on? And it's clear that like, you know, Taylor's like, I'm so sorry. That's disgusting is the word that Taylor used.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
absolutely disgusting, horrendous behavior from Steven.
My like the bottom fell out of my chest. I was like,
so
oh no.
So in this moment, I thought Steven had left. I was like, okay, they got into a fight. Something happened. He said something. Taylor witnessed it, and Monica's home
No.
alone, or she's in Taylor's apartment. Boy, Steven is back there. Steven is in
Oh my
the apartment.
God.
Steven is in the kitchen, like right behind the camera, just
When
like
he
carrying
appeared,
on.
I when he appeared, I like got immediately confused because I was like, maybe I'm misreading this situation. Like I literally gaslit myself because I was like, oh, maybe I'm misreading this situation. Maybe we're not talking about Steven because the way he was so nonchalant in the background, I
That's
was
how you
like,
knew he was in the wrong. That's how
oh
I knew. As soon as I saw that, I was like,
my
"Oh
God.
yeah, he's in the wrong. He's trying to be as inoffensive in his demeanor as possible." Like,
There's a moment very particular. Well, okay, let me know because I was gonna skip ahead. Go ahead, go ahead.
well, so we find out when Monica and Steven finally sit down. I think the crux of it is that Steven was
Taylor
supposed.
leaves too.
Yeah,
Or
Taylor leaves.
but
Yeah,
apparently she
Taylor.
doesn't leave.
She leaves the apartment.
She leaves the apartment, but then she comes
She comes
back.
back. They live in the same apartment. Like they all live in
Oh,
the
they
same
always
apartment
do.
complex.
I always
Yeah.
forget that. Yes.
Um.
Except for like one season they lived in townhouses. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, last season, right? Yeah.
Yes. Hmm.
So what we find out is that Steven was supposed to go to a sleep test the night before, which he did, and while he was at his sleep test, he was texting a woman some real freaky, nasty, kinky stuff. Yeah,
Repeat
right.
that nasty thing.
He was getting freak nasty at the sleep test.
Which kind of confused me because I was like, I thought you were
Aren't
supposed
you
to have
supposed to be
your
sleeping?
phone. Aren't you supposed to be sleeping? But also, I didn't think you're supposed to have your phone during a sleep
I
test.
mean, like sometimes like they'll do sleep tests like if it's like required for a physical or something, they'll just send you to like they'll have like sleep centers at the hospital. Like they're not gonna like take your phone away from you.
True.
Yeah, so he's supposed to be doing a sleep test and he's like texting a woman. Now, we didn't talk about this cuz like there's
Crazy.
just so much stuff that's going on in so many couples, but like Steven did mention in the pods that he's technically wears the label of a cheater
Oh my God, I forgot.
because he slid in somebody's DMs.
Oh, and see, this is where the post everything editing is so messy
Yeah.
because they chose to include that on
Yep.
purpose.
Yep.
Oh
And
my
and
God,
it
and I
to-
fall for it every time.
and it totally recontextualizes that, right? Because she's like understanding in the pod. I feel like a
Yeah.
little too understanding, honestly, but she was
Mhm.
very understanding in that moment. And then you see just like when she like talks about like, oh, you know what we missed when they were talking about sex. So after they talk about the lose the job conversation. This is another conversation that flipped for me,
Oh,
and
the meat moment.
me.
Yeah, where he's like, you could just treat me like a piece of
Oh
meat.
yes, 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 yes. You can
Yes.
treat me like a piece of meat. More of this, less that, less butt stuff is what she says. And
Yeah, she
she
doesn't want to be poked
and
anymore.
she's like, "You're into butt stuff," and he's like, "Yeah, like pegging."
That made me
That's
scream.
not what she was talking about. You know, that's not what she was talking about. That's what you
Yes.
want, Steven. That is not what she was talking about
But also is not the same as like poking her in the butt.
at
Like the pegging is
all.
you receiving, you
No,
idiot.
seriously, that's what I'm saying. Like she
Yeah.
knows, like she's like less slip pokes or whatever, in the derriere, and he's like,
I don't
and
like
then she,
that.
and then she accuses him of being into butt stuff, and he's like, "What do you mean, like pegging?" I'm like, "Come on." Read the room once
No.
again, Stephen. Like in context, what are you guys talking about right now? He was slick trying to like throw it in there. Like I'm into that if you if you're down.
Yeah. And he also kept like
Oh,
he was rubbing her feet, which also made me ick just because feet are scary to me. But he kept like doing like what I'm calling the roller coaster move, where he kept just being like,
mm-hmm.
and I was like, ew, just stop doing that, please. I think she's smart enough to know what you mean by
No,
this.
so I will say that. So I think I don't know if that's the conversation because in the moment where she's confronting him, he said, you know, we had a conversation. I took it a certain way. I don't know what conversation he's referencing there. And maybe it's the conversation where she's like, yeah, I'm not going to sleep with you if you tell me you're unsure about getting married, which was is something that
I
happened in
feel like that's what
Mexico.
the edit is leading us to believe was the
Okay.
conversation
Yeah.
because we don't see any other
I
conversation.
just want to say, I mean, do you have anything else to say about this? Like,
First of all, it made me very uncomfortable. I did not like the way that he like switched to flip so quickly. And there was one thing that really rankled me when he was like, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna like leave you alone. And he like is saying this while he's like checking his pockets.
oh,
And
I didn't
like,
know. I didn't catch that.
but like the reason, obviously checking your pockets is fine, but like it just seemed so disingenuous to me.
Yeah. So this
Like
is
he
what I.
wasn't like actually being like, "Oh, I'm gonna leave you alone." Like I'm so sorry. He was just like, "I'm gonna get out of here."
Yeah. No, like there were two moments that were really disgusting to me.
Ugh,
Um
ugh.
about this when she's like talking to him and he's like, "You're right." Like which he does all the time and when he does it because she's just kind of being a little bossy, a little snobby, it's like,
Yeah.
"Okay, fine. Maybe you're just like a non like, you know, maybe you're just like a person that's not like riled up easily." Cool.
Yes.
But when
Yes.
when like when this is the case, she's like talking and she's like, "What were you going to do? You were going to meet my dad, you were going to shake his hand." And then knowing that the night before you were texting a woman like this type of stuff, he's like, "You're right. You're right." She's like, "No, no, no, no. I know I'm right. Like you need to be more like be able to
She
like
says something like, "Say something else."
yeah, you need to say
Yeah.
something else. You need to actually explain yourself to me." And
I
he's
really
like, all right.
appreciated that moment, by the
and
way.
and then like in that explanation when he goes in, he's like, you know, I will live with this or this, and looks into the camera forever and points at all the cameras. I was like, oh, that's when um the DM conversation that he cornered Taylor into
Oh, yes.
really like switched over to
Mm-hmm.
me to be
Mm-hmm.
something real nefarious. I was like, oh, why are you so worried about the cameras? Like
Yeah.
if you care about this lady the way you say you do,
Yeah.
you just hurt her. You ain't did nothing to me, Steven. I don't know you. You know, I
No,
don't know you.
no.
We're not kin. You are not African. You're a fraud. And I knew you never were. I never believed you in the first place.
Can I say
I need to
something
see the results.
terrible? Can
You
I
gonna
say
say something
something
about
terrible?
Nigerian men? You can't put this on their collar. That is not an African man. I will stand up for my people immediately. Absolutely not. We do not want you. We do not accept you. You do not represent us. That is a white man. Let the record show
Yes.
that is a white man.
That's a white man.
That's a
Yes.
white man
That's a white man.
from
Absolutely.
Europe.
I
Don't you ever in your life. I better not ever hear you ever. I better not ever hear Sierra Leone, Senegal, Ghana, Nigeria,
definitely not
Benin,
Senegal, please.
Togo, Liberia. I better not ever hear you mention any of our names ever again. Not even Cameroon.
For the
Not
audience,
even Morocco. It's on the west side.
Miriam is a proud Liberian woman, and I am half Senegalese.
Ever. Don't talk to us. We do not claim you. We do not accept you. We don't want you. We're not putting any of this on our collar. This is not our
Mm-hmm.
nonsense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's completely fair. Yes.
Disgusting
Maybe
behavior.
it's giving Albanian. It's giving Albanian.
Real Herzegovina. Real
This
Chechen
belongs to the
about now.
Baltic states. This has nothing to do with us. This belongs to the Baltics.
Real Chechen right now, you look.
I'm so sorry to the Baltics. Sorry to the Baltics.
Y'all got to deal with this. We know he's German for sure.
Ooh,
That part
seems
is
like a
confirmed.
conversation for him and Angela Merkel. That
Italy,
has nothing to do with
count your
me.
blessings. You dodged a bullet.
Italy, not the entire country of Italy being like, "Whew, this has
Woo!
got nothing to do with us."
They said, "Mamma mia!"
Spicy meatball. That's completely fair. Oh my gosh. Hertzgovania took me out. Oh my God. What a very specific word. I love that so much.
Yeah,
But
we're done
yes,
with you. You're finished.
he's finished.
We're
Game
you're
over.
finished.
Oh my
Shout out
God.
to Monica. It gave me real like Laura vibes. Um, when she hit him with the well, I did check your location. So when she buzzed it back with that, that was nice.
Yes. I
Um,
just, oh my, this seems like such a stupid thing to have done. Like, what am I trying to say to you? Two different things at the same time. One, I now fully believe that he like just wants to be on camera. One, but
same.
also this seems like such a stupid. Like, how did she even find out? Do we know?
I did. I saw parts of she was on the Nick Vile podcast. I don't know how long it was, but I saw some clips that were hitting TikTok earlier, like yesterday or something, and she said that what did she say? I'm trying to remember because I only watched it once. She said that Garrett and Taylor, oh, all the couples were in a group chat, and Garrett and Taylor had been upstairs in their apartment making baked goods for everybody. So they were hitting the group chat like, "Hey guys, we're making stuff. Like we'll be bringing it down to y'all soon." Garrett had texted like 5 minutes prior in the group chat that like Monica and Steven, you're next. Like we're coming down soon. So her and Steven were in the apartment doing something, and then his phone dinged like maybe a few minutes later, and she assumed it was Garrett. So she went to check his phone, and it was that woman. So she opened the messages and read, like, went back and read all the messages, and that's how she found out. And Taylor was already kind of on the way down. That's where we see
Oh,
like
that's why
Taylor.
Taylor was already there. Okay.
Um,
Also, I really
I believe
like, I
that's correct.
appreciated Garrett very much in this moment.
Yeah,
When Steven leaves the apartment, because like we obviously like the girls are very close, but we never really see like a whole bunch of like cross gender friendships with like in within the other couple
yeah.
or within like the couples that like make it that far. And obviously you can't do it in the pods because you're like completely gender segregated. And so like I just really appreciated him in that moment. Now the preview of the upcoming episodes did frighten me, but
Hmm.
in this very particular moment before my brain had seen the previews, I really did appreciate
Yeah, I mean, you can
Garrett.
appreciate it even after. It was a nice thing he did. It doesn't change
Yeah.
that. I'm sure. But do you want to move on to the next one?
Yes, ma'am. Who are we going to next?
Ramses and Marissa.
So you just want to fight.
Yeah, let's tussle.
I wonder if we're actually going to fight or if we're going to do what we did last week, which is say the same exact thing,
We weren't saying the
but
same thing,
angry.
but
Okay.
I cut all of that, so we don't need to talk about it.
Oh, okay.
um,
It's always a surprise to me.
Ramses and
Where do you want to
Marissa.
start with them?
Well, I want to start in
Hmm.
what was going on? So I don't remember what happened on the boat, but the first time we see them back in Baltimore, and she left him a note. He's cooking dinner. This was so cute. First of all, I want to say Marissa, gorgeous, gorgeous,
Oh,
gorgeous lady. Marissa
beautiful.
looked so. I mean, she's looked good the whole time, but she looked bomb.
She's so pretty.
This whole
I
entire
love
drop,
her.
so beautiful. What a beautiful woman.
Hmm.
And like even the family,
Hmm.
everybody beautiful. I mean, not everybody ain't beautiful on the inside, but on the outside, they're all fine.
Please, and we'll get there
They
because
are
that
all
lady
fine, and
scared
they all
me.
kind of resemble Ramses, if I'm gonna be quite
They
honest.
do. And
he fits.
his or her
He fits
sister,
right into the
Freudian slip.
family.
Her sister literally points it out, like, I don't want to hear it. Like, white people date each other all the time and look the same. And I was like,
That don't give you an excuse to do it, but
yeah, I was like,
go ahead.
yeah. I was like,
So
you do
cute.
look like one family.
Like the one brother, Quentin, he looked like he could be Ramsey's little brother too. Like
Yes, I as soon as he showed up on camera, I was like, oh no.
um no, okay. So they're
It's back to
talking.
order.
So she comes home and they sit down. They start eating the food and they're
The
they're
hard noodles.
the hard noodles.
Every episode, I am becoming more and more endeared to her, to be
She
honest.
no, she's cute. She's cute as hell. She was annoying me in this episode though. I'm not even gonna lie. But like I
Ooh.
kept Marissa. I kept flip
No,
flopping
I
on,
said ooh. Sorry.
oh
Yes.
so they go through that and then they talk about religion a little bit. It seems like they're both sort of like deconstructing their religious beliefs from childhood or
Yes.
whatever.
And now I understand so much more about her now that I know that she was Mormon.
But then they start talking about the military. Well, she talks about how Barbie radicalized her. Um, yeah, right.
I, in the context of everything we know about her up until that point and the timeline that she gives of how this, I was like, okay, that does actually make sense. Because I was like, what? But then she's newly radicalized. So I was like, oh, okay. Like, I can see that.
Yeah. So this is the like conversation that I really want to talk about. The military. They talked
Yeah.
about this a little bit on the boat where she's like, "You wouldn't date me if I was in the military." He's like, "No." This is I think that like hurt her, and
Oh,
she like
yes.
found ways to keep bringing this military thing up for the rest of the episodes, and I was annoyed by it. Every time they had this
Oh,
conversation, and not specifically that like she was proud of her service or that he is anti-military or whatever, but specifically like where she and I feel like she like put her friends up to this too, where they kept playing the hypothetical game of like, what if I went back, even though I'll never go back, even though I hated it and I don't support half the things they do. What if I went back? What if I went back? Would you date me if I went back? Would you love me if I went back? And like in that moment, that explains something about her when she was like, "Oh, I dated a Trump supporter for 3 years, and I dated a this for 3 years, or a super liberal
mm.
guy." Because like I really think she's like one of those people like naively who's just like love conquers all. Like if you love me, like it wouldn't matter what my ethics and my
Yes.
morals are because we're
Which
in
is
love.
very interesting because her mom is not like that.
Yes.
Oh my God,
So
not like
like
that.
that's why I was kind of like side eyeing her. Like, what does it matter if you're not going back to the military and you self-admittedly do not support the actions that the military takes, which I think it's kind of hard to do. It's kind of hard to hold both of those and be like so like staunchly I support the troops. But what were your thoughts?
No, Ramsey's, what am I trying to say to you? The frequency of her bringing it up like didn't ring to me literally at all. I did think the hypothetical when she was with her friends was like kind of like okay, like fine. But then I like tried to push myself because honestly my first instinct was to roll my eyes. But then I kind of like tried to push myself into like what circumstance would require her to go back. And I was like, I don't know, maybe if that's like her only job option, but I don't know why that would be your only job option. The thing that like made me like a little mad in this. Well, actually, I had a moment where I said not the James Baldwin quote because I just had to giggle about that. But
James
what
Baldwin
I
quote.
what I actually wrote was Rams is pissing me off with this because he's being flat in his understanding of how the military recruits people, as if everyone chooses to join up
So
in complete honesty. And
so
I didn't like that.
So this is why this is what I thought about this, or this would be my thought. What when I was looking at him, it seemed like, especially on the boat, it seemed like he's just uncomfortable with having this conversation because he probably knows that like which is unfair to her. He probably knows that like he has like more extreme like radical views on
Oh, I see.
even
Okay,
the
yes.
existence of an armed forces for the United States of America, right?
Yeah.
But then when they're talking, he's like trying to push past this conversation whilst being true to himself is what I'm interpreting it as. Because when she's like talking about, well,
Hmm.
I was in the service, I'm really proud of it, and he's like, yeah, like it's in your past. Like everybody starts somewhere. Like I'm not
He
judging you
says as
for it
long as it
as
stays in your
long as it stays in
past.
your past.
Oof. Yeah.
And I think that's like fair. Like I think it's okay to be like like if like for example, let's say if your spouse or significant other was a career criminal, which is not too different from me. Like and they have been locked up, they're going to jail, and
Yeah.
some people are willing to push past that, but like some people are not interested in dating an active criminal. There's some people
Which
are
is
not.
like very fair. Like I'm not judging Rams for that at all. The truly the only thing that like made me upset about this was to me it was like not to weed us in too deep, but to me it was a flat leftist understanding of how the
Oh
military.
no, I think she had a flat like pro-military explanation. Like my
Yeah, oh
issue with
yes,
her
well that's also
specifically
right.
is what
Yes.
I'm saying is that when she talks about her service, like personally, she goes,
Mhm.
"I believed in it. I was patriotic. I was raised in this. This is how I saw the world." She is trying to say what she thinks he wants to hear, which is that I don't support the military. I think we do bad things, and right, while also like while she doesn't believe that, while also like immediately after that saying I support the troops and bringing it back onto individuals, and then being like, oh, people, like, I think he's right, people choose to go to the military. Like, I understand all the things like, oh, these people are young, they don't know what they're getting into, they don't know what they're signing up for. I think that's all true, but like they still
Mhm.
do make a choice. Like, and like we can acknowledge that, like, hey, like we're also privileged in this way, and we get to be privileged and ignorant as well too, as like American citizens, and we are passive supporters, right? We're passively
Yeah,
implicated in the wrongs that the U.S. military like performs
completely.
in the name of our safety and our freedom
Hmm.
to underprivileged people, oftentimes people who look like us and Marissa as well too, right?
Yeah,
But like to take an active role into that, like you don't get to be
is
absolved of
different.
the war crimes that you commit because like you joined when you were 18 and you had no other choice.
See that I had a similar read of you, just like a slightly different in tone. That to me, she seemed. I really wasn't. I don't know why, but I really wasn't thinking of this like as a couple's moment. Like I think
Yeah.
I got like because I actually don't think that they did too terrible in communicating. But to me, it seems so clearly, and this was in the context of what she said about Barbie radicalizing her, and like the timeline of when she becomes this or how she's becoming this person. To me, it seems so clearly that she's still, and she might not ever get out of, I don't know her personally, but it seemed to me that she was still very much trying to reconcile that within herself and was so scared of Ramses like
I
having a
agree.
negative. Yeah.
I agree entirely. And I think the
Yeah.
reason why she keeps going back to the will you support me, but you wouldn't date me, because like even when she's with her friends and he's like kind of he's doing the decent thing of like, hey, I'm just meeting these people. I don't want to get into like the more right. I'm
That's
trying to
fair.
like make a
Yeah.
good and like and just keep this conversation like she's like, but he wouldn't date me when I if I went back into the military. And her
She's
friends are
very
and her
insecure
friends are
about it.
reasonably alarmed because they're like, oh no, as long as we've known you, you've been proud of your service, like you tell everybody. I also think she was uncomfortable with the fact, because she said it, she was like, usually when I tell this is the first time I've dated somebody and I've told them about my military service and they're not like happy and cheering, and they're they're
True.
they're actually like critical of it. I think what Marissa was trying to do, she was trying to feign that criticism of the military, but like very much wanted to hear from him, I'm proud of you having been in the military, and he just
Yes.
wasn't giving her that. Like he
Yes.
he was he was saying the right thing of being like, you know what? It's in your past. It is what it is. I'm not judging you for it. I know you're a good person, baby. I know you're a solid person. Like, I love you. You have a big heart. You're not a bad person. I don't think you're a bad person presently, but like the implication, like the underneath of
That
that is that like I
you
think you
could be
used
and
to be.
were.
Yeah, I think you used to
Yeah.
be.
Definitely. Yeah.
Marissa's mom.
First of all, whiplash from the like she she at this point in time it
I'd
was
be
obvious.
embarrassed if that was my mother. Like, honestly, like, forget anything she was talking about. Like, we're on camera. Where I'm on an international show. Like, I'm in front of an international audience.
I wrote not the fashion drag. I also did write that there is a moment where all of the kids, obviously minus Ramses, are like clowning their mother for the fact that they have like all different
Oh no, I was gonna
dads.
say this. It's when
Yeah.
there's a point. What I was gonna say is there's a point where he's like, marriage is hard, and she's like, you're telling me about marriage. I'm like, yeah, girl, you got what, 4 baby dads? Like, come on, like, you don't know nothing about marriage. Like, calm down. We can move on.
Who's next? Who's
Um.
next?
Oh no, we're not done with them. So the last conversation that they have is
Oh, yes. This is when I got mad at you in my
the birth
brain.
control. Oh, what
Yeah.
were you mad about?
I again for reasons I was not being rational,
Were
but
you like mad at me or mad that
I
I
was
like Ramsey?
I was I was
Because I still like Ramses.
I was preemptively mad at you about whatever you were gonna say about
Yeah.
this part of the
Yeah,
section.
like yeah.
Yeah, I was being very
I'm
irrational.
probably not as offended by this as you will be. Oh
I
no,
think so.
I know I'm definitely not as offended by this conversation as you will be. As you
Okay.
So you start us off.
Okay, so we're talking about the condom moment,
Hmm.
or well, the discussion about like safe sex, I guess I should
Contraceptive,
say.
yeah.
Contraceptions or contraceptives. Whoa. I Googled like I felt crazy and I was like, can you not get a vasectomy reversed? Because I was like, okay, your girlfriend, fiance, I guess, is telling you that like this would like make her like uncomfortable to be back on birth control and you don't want to wear a condom, which like fine, like that's your business. I didn't like that. Like it just doesn't feel as good. I was like, okay, whatever. But I was to me, I was like, isn't the obvious answer that you just get a vasectomy? Like that is like the thing that like kind of bothered me. As I was like, we're
Hmm.
talking like there's only two options here, and like either Ramses gets to be completely comfortable with a condom off, or Marissa has to be uncomfortable with a variety of hormones or non-hormonal birth control in her system. And it's the
Hmm.
same thing that made me mad about Johnny and Amy last time. I was like, we could just get a vasectomy. Like, why is this even a problem?
So with with regards to the vasectomy, they're not always reversible.
It's 80 to 90. Yeah. That's why I Googled it
It's
because
like it says 80 to 90, but there's like oftentimes complications even if they do get reversed,
but
which is why.
she could have an IUD that gets lost in her
Well,
literal body.
again, like sure. I'm just saying, like with the vasectomy, there's been like various studies on this that like it should be thought of as a permanent solution for contraceptive,
Mm.
not like as a temporary one. It didn't seem like she was entirely comfortable like telling him. No, what I want to say is this seems like a very normal or like a very good conversation to be having between like a new couple.
Oh,
Talking
yes, yes.
talking about like contraception. What I clocked was she brought it up and she's like, hey, like she brought it up and what did she say? Like when she brings it up, she says
Ooh,
something about
I don't
because
remember.
she said, oh, she asks him about babies. It's clear to me, what like watching the conversation, like thinking about the entire conversation, like where it ends. It's clear to me that she just wants to bring up, like she just wants to ask him to wear a condom, but she is not comfortable doing so for whatever reason. So she brings up the fact, like, oh, like when do you want to have a baby? And he says 3 to 5 years, and she's like, can we make it more like three? He's like, actually, I'm kind of leaning towards four. And she's like, okay, well, if that's the case, then I'm gonna have to get back on birth control. And he's like, okay. And as soon as he said okay, because I think she wanted to get him into a point where he would go, well, like, are you okay with birth control? Maybe I'll just do this, right? He
Yeah.
goes, okay, yeah, you do that. Like she brings it up, offers to go on birth control, and then he's like, all right, cool. And she's like, yeah, I just really no. She goes, I need to talk to my doctor about birth control then. And then she goes, yeah, but it just really makes me feel bad. Like, and like my hormones, I don't feel the best when I'm on it. And he's like, oh yeah, that sucks. I know it. And you have a right, like you deserve to be comfortable, like da 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 da. And she's
Hmm.
like, okay, then like we should use cotton. And he does like a bit of the same thing, right? But like he's clear. He's
Yeah.
clear. Like he's trying to be too mean. um
Me
and
too.
then she's like, after that happens, she's talking real funny in this moment for me, and this is why I was frustrated with her.
What do you
Because
mean? I don't know what you mean.
so in this like conversation, the way I interpreted it is like they are negotiating what contraceptive is going to look like in their relationship. One of
Hmm.
them, like you said, Ramses wants to meet.
Why
And
do you say it
and
like that?
Marissa seems like she might want just condom sex.
Yeah.
But instead of starting the negotiation at what she wants, for some reason she starts her negotiation at what she'd settle for. And like,
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
and
No.
so it's difficult to like jump. Well, no, not really. It's actually not difficult to jump to her side. But like for me, like when I'm thinking about it and like the way I communicate and the way things work for me, I'm like, why wouldn't you just start with being like, let's just start using condoms. And also, what was weird about it to me is that it seems that like y'all been having sex the entire time y'all been on the honeymoon. Y'all had sex the first night, which you were very proud. Both of you were very proud to tell us.
That's what confused me.
So that's why I just kept like kind of looking at her because every time he she would go. Well, when they were talking about babies, he go like 4 years. He has a hard set on 4 years, and it seems like she's okay with getting pregnant immediately. So my issue with her is that she keeps like vacillating on what she actually wants, right? And like it's easy for me to assume. I can assume that she just wants to like be protected and not end up pregnant. But she also just keeps weirdly saying like, "Well, they're gonna get pregnant." What my issue
But I
with
think she
him
says it
is,
because she's trying to scare him.
or do you
Like,
think so?
well,
No,
not scare him like but like I
Maddie.
think
If
that
I was in law school, if
yes.
you were in law school, there
Mhm.
is no chance. I don't care who the man was. I don't care how long we've been married. What's going on? There is no chance that I'm having sex with him on in Mexico, booty butt bra naked without any.
Crazy.
Right?
Crazy from you, yes.
There's no way that like I'm engaging, like I'm risking unprotected sex, right?
No,
Like
I'm agreeing with you, but what I'm saying is I'm trying to add on to what you just said about the way that she's not able to ask for just what she wants. I think that her saying that, because this is after he says 4 years, whatever, I think that her saying that is another attempt
the
to get
only,
him to move on it without saying what she actually wants. And
yeah,
she's like,
yeah,
well, we'll just get pregnant right now then. And like, girl, just say what you want to say.
this was like crazy for me. I think this conversation between them is getting framed as him not respecting her autonomy and her body when
Oh.
my perspective on it is this because I've seen some of that on TikTok. My perspective on it is this: Ramses has a right the freedom to choose how he receives pleasure, and so does Marissa.
He says that, I think.
He doesn't say that. He said it needs to feel good for me too. Sex should be
Oh,
pleasurable. So, but that's what he's saying, right? He has
yeah.
the freedom to choose what how like the type of pleasure that he receives during sex,
Mhm.
and that's perfectly fine. So I like because what I've seen online a lot is that this conversation is like everybody is using it as a gotcha. This is why you shouldn't trust leftist men because they're leftists until you get to the bedroom, like da 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 da. Like
That's
he's
literally what I wrote, by the
yeah,
way.
like, and I figured that was going to be your thought
Yeah.
on it. And again, I think this is what I said earlier, like last time we spoke about Taylor, where it just comes from the fact of like dealing with men as all members of an oppressive class that is like has their boot on the neck
Oh,
of
our previous conversation about Taylor.
yeah
Yes.
yeah. That like you're at that point, and I'm not one to be like not all men, but like at that point, this is specifically that type of thinking specifically comes out of a lack of nuance about like what is he saying in this moment? What is his relationship with Marissa? What does the power dynamics within their relationship look like? I don't
Mhm.
really know all of that thing. Regardless of that, he does have the he should have the freedom. He should have the ability to say to his partner. It's just that they're saying it on camera, so you know people are going to talk about it.
Mhm.
But he should have the ability to say to his partner, "This is what would be the most pleasurable for me," and
Mhm.
then they both now have a responsibility to or yes, they both now have the a responsibility to negotiate what that actually
Yes.
looks like in practice. And then other than that, he also needs to understand that he has to be responsible for the risk that comes with like she said, the type of sex you're having. Because
Yeah.
what annoyed me about him is that he seems to shut down in the conversation when she's really like, no, like I'm fine with just condom sex, and he's not giving any other solutions, right? He's like he doesn't want to have a baby, but he doesn't want to use a condom, and he has no other solutions, right?
Which is
Um,
exactly what pissed me off. Yeah.
and like that annoyed me because I think at some point you need to he needs to realize too that like she can't make all of the acquiescence on her end, and you just kind of get to show up and go, well, like I gotta enjoy myself too. Like, can you talk about monitoring ovulation? Like, can you talk about like this, that, and the third, or any other options that you might have? IEDs. But I don't know. Maybe she does. Maybe she had an IED. Maybe she had an Explanon. Maybe she had like other. I don't know what type of birth control she's talking about. We're assuming. I
Very
think
true.
you're assuming she's talking about pills. Um, But
I was
like
thinking about literally everything.
every single one of them has
Yeah.
side effects, right? And every single one of
Yeah.
them have hormonal side effects. They can throw your menstrual cycle off whack. Every single one
People
of
lose
them.
their copper IEDs in their body. IEDs. Oh my God, no, sorry. IUDs
IEDs.
in their body.
I
Like, yeah,
so like that was like the main thing about me. Like I wasn't
absolutely.
offended when I saw this. I like in the moment the first thing when I first saw it cuz the first thing that stuck out to me on her was like how I didn't understand how like why she was being like I don't want to say weak, but I didn't understand why she was being like so passive, like so indirect
She's
and
beating around the bush.
yes,
Yeah.
so like I didn't understand why she was being so indirect because just as much as he has a the freedom to choose what his
Yes.
sex
No, I
life is
agree
going to look
completely.
like she's an active participant in that too, so she gets to say as well too, and just voice like what your actual your stance is on this. I'm still don't believe that she was like just threatening with a baby. I think she's also just in a space that's like, hey, if I get pregnant, I can be pregnant and in law school. Like I've seen other people do it.
Insane. Oh my God.
Um,
Don't do that.
with a 2 hour commute. Shout out to her.
Oh my gosh,
No,
yes. No,
yeah, so
I think I completely agree. And that's why I said the vasectomy thing at the beginning, because I was like, the thing that missed or that pissed me off in this whole thing, and I did lay at Ramsey's feet, to be fair, um, was that like we are not having any sort of tertiary conversation. You're saying your point, we're kind of getting to Marissa's point, and like we're not like he just didn't, like you said, he just kind of shuts down and it's like, well, I'm not gonna do that. And it's like, well, are we going to talk about like any sort of I don't know, I was going to say three-fifths compromise. I don't know what that was. Uh,
shout
are,
out to
are,
Steven.
are, shout out to Steven. He is officially Albanian. But like it really like that is really what pissed me off. That's why I wrote my third to last note for the evening was Ramses being anti-condom is like pissing me off. And then I
He
wrote
seemed
something else.
like I will say he seemed like he didn't and this is like this conversation is where I turned for him on him, but I turned for a different reason I think than probably most people would. It wasn't
Oh,
that the fact that he didn't want to use a condom. It was that like he seemed like very rigid. And
no,
then
that's what pisses me off.
and he takes like very staunch stances and like he'll kind of go like, yeah, I get what you're saying, and then just repeat his stance and not like think of like, okay, I get what you're saying, what does that really mean, like how do we talk about this. I think they continue talking about this next week as well too. I do wish the best for them. I don't know if they're gonna make it though.
I don't this they've officially moved into my I don't think you should be together category.
I think they should be together, but I don't think they will make it.
I don't know. I just feel like they could each find somebody better for them.
For sure, most definitely. And they wouldn't have a hard time either. They are fine. They are so
Beautiful.
fine.
My
Like
God, gorgeous.
they're so gorgeous.
Even
They
with the
look
locks.
so good together too, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, they do, yes.
Um
Where are we moving next?
Tyler and Ashley. Oh, I'm sorry
Oh,
I did that. Tyler and Ashley.
um
Mm.
wait, I feel so bad because I always still confused him and Alex. Tyler and Ashley.
Baby daddy. Sperm
They
donor.
literally nothing.
Baby,
I'm like, okay.
story time with Ricky is still breaking the news over there on TikTok.
Oh my God.
I don't even watch the TikTok videos no more. I just go, yeah.
A little likey. Like I
Um,
actually was like, I wish you hadn't told me this. I wish
it
you hadn't told me
like
this
the
because
only
that
thing I
go
wrote
ahead.
about them was uncomfortable. Every time, like I didn't write any notes about them. I don't know what they said to each other. I barely paid attention. I watched all their scenes, no reaction, just like
Yeah, I wrote at the very top. My two first notes of the entire series of episodes was not the camels, and I can't deal with Tyler now. And then I don't say anything else until the end, where my very last note of all the episodes is sperm donor with four question marks.
yeah.
Because like this is why I wish you hadn't told
Well,
me.
we know
Thank you for
everything
telling
he
me.
said. Like everything he's saying to her is a lie. Like, and it's just
Yeah,
it's
and that's why I wish you hadn't told me.
you can't buy into it. Like I wish they hadn't. It's not my fault. They shouldn't have casted him with all them damn babies. Like
But do you think? Well, no, this is an esoteric conversation. We don't need to have. Go ahead.
what?
I was just gonna say, do you think they did it on purpose?
Oh, I can't be sure, but my instinct is to be like they knew, they didn't care, or they
That's
thought
my
it might,
instinct.
or they thought it might make good TV.
That's exactly my
That's how I
instinct.
feel every time we find out, like, because the people on TikTok literally found out within the first week of episodes being out, like within the first 3 days of the first six
Yeah.
episodes being released. You telling me your entire casting team, with with way more resources for background checks and scrubbing the internet of like Tyler deleted all of the Instagram posts of he and his kids, and people still found screenshots of when they were up. Like they have screenshots of he was previously engaged. They have screenshots going back like 10 years from his former fiance's Facebook about their breakup. And all that, like she posted like 3 times. She like posted something about why they broke up. Apparently, he was lying about this. The person he had the baby with was somebody that she knew. It was like a lesbian couple, and
Oh.
they had been trying to get pregnant, and so she went to the gender reveal party and had no idea that Tyler was the person that had impregnated the lady
Oh, oh my gosh. Oh my
for
gosh.
the son, for the first one. So it was
So
friends of theirs
wait,
as a
is
couple.
he, does his children, are they all sperm donor children from different
So
situations?
it's not a sperm donor situation entirely. So
Okay.
the lesbian partner, because that couple then broke up, they didn't came out. Here's what's going on. Let's just talk about that instead of talking about the fake stuff that's happening on TV
Well,
shows.
there's nothing to say about the fake stuff.
Um, so the from the post that the
Wait, no, there's one thing to say about the fake
we'll get there.
stuff.
The daddy,
Yes,
yo
okay.
nasty. I knew it. I knew it. uh, no,
That's all right.
so the ex fiance, there's a picture online of Tyler and his ex fiance at the DC at no at the the
Memorial.
Lincoln Memorial, not the monument. The Lincoln Memorial, after their engagement, and she's like holding the ring, they're kissing. There's multiple pictures of that. Then there's pictures from her Facebook of them breaking up later on that year, I believe, and she's like detailing like, hey, I didn't, the person that I knew that I thought I was going to spend my life with, God has made a different path for me. That person had a baby. I knew the couple, had me in these people's face. These were friends of ours. And then she edited that part like 3 times and just kind of made it like cleaner. But basically was like, hey, there was infidelity. There's the person I was engaged to has conceived a child with someone that we all knew. So apparently,
Oh my God.
Tyler, like, and then the lesbian girlfriend at the time or wife came out and was like, yeah, we were a couple. I was in a relationship with this woman. We'd asked Tyler to be a sperm donor for us. We signed papers that he was supposed to have nothing to do with the kids, but that's unclear because then later on there was like that contract was amended where he was able to be in the kid's life as an uncle, but like never disclosed that he was the one,
That's
or
so weird.
etc. But like she was like, yeah, it was very uncomfortable. We kept asking him, but he wouldn't tell her. So we knew him and his ex fiance, and that lady. They used the ex fiance came to the gender reveal, was there buying gifts, doing all types of things, and didn't know. And then things got weird with the two lesbians, and they broke up. And then that's how the other one, the one who wasn't pregnant, was scrolling on Facebook one day. I did
Yeah.
this because somebody else says strolling because they're from the South instead of scrolling.
Hmm.
um, was scrolling on Facebook and seen a picture of Tyler in front of the ex-wife's house at Thanksgiving with the newborn baby. And it wasn't given sperm donor. It wasn't given uncle. It was given father of the child. And she like texted the girl like, "What the fuck? This like this dude is." And then she was like, "Hey," she came out too, and she was like, "Hey, we have been trying with in vitro, like with Tyler's sperm for months, and we weren't having any success." And then she just popped up pregnant. So I don't even believe it was in vitro. I believe they slept together, like da 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 da.
Oh my
And that seems
gosh.
like that might be true because that lady is the one he's playing house with. She's
Oh,
online. She's
oh, those
online.
pictures. Oh,
Yes,
the
yes. Some of
TikTok, yes.
like yeah, the Christmas photos and the pumpkin patch that I showed you. She's online pissed off because she's like the one that like he owes child support to, and she's like, you know,
Oh.
deadbeat my ass. Like you're not. Her mama is online talking about you were a father, you were involved, so they may have dated at some point too. And then it seems that
So is
she.
this woman bisexual? Is that what we're
I
saying?
don't know. I don't really care what her sexuality is, and like, it's
No,
not. It's not
but I mean,
validated.
like, was romantically interested in Tyler.
That's like what's kind of coming up now.
Okay. It
That's
literally wasn't just a sperm
that's
donor.
speculative. I can't be sure about that. There might be some new news on that, but I can't be sure. But
Oh my God.
that's all speculative from the partner. But it seems like it might be true because I think that same woman had twins with him. Those are the other two children. How he ends up at three with
Oh.
the same premise of he's gonna be a donor with another partner.
She's giving
I
bisexual.
I
Well, I don't
believe
know
if I
that, but
understood everything correctly because I kind of just clicked through real fast. So
she,
there may be a different version of events that's come to
I
light
don't
now.
see what difference of events could possibly happen that would make this any better.
But she's online. She's the one that dropped those posts. Her mother is online in Facebook groups, like talking about this, dropping pictures. So apparently, you see in the episode where Tyler was like, "Oh, I like for Christmas this past year, I just stayed at home and cooked myself a bunch of stuff." The girl was
Yes.
like, "That was a lie. Like you came over to our family house. Those were the pictures where they were like all in matching onesies and stuff. That
Oh
was
my
Christmas of
God.
2022, which is the Christmas before they went on the show because they filmed in 2023."
Yes. I
Um,
always forget that year gap. So then did she not know he was on the show until the show
so
aired?
she knew. It's almost like a Trevor thing. He told her that he was going on the
Hmm.
show to make a better life for their family, to do this, to do that, to do the third. And then I think at some point during that whole ordeal, he may have like wanted to break things off with her and maybe because I think she's I don't know. Like I mean, I don't know.
But
But
out of all the shows to go on to get reality TV famous, I feel like this is to get famous in order to provide for your family. I feel like this is not a good fit.
I mean, perfect match. You catapult yourself into that Netflix universe of reality TV shows. You have Perfect Match, you have The Circle, you have The Mole. Like you can kind of just make your way around all of
That's
them.
fair.
But it's not even necessarily about that. It's probably just the sponsors. You go on. I mean, think about this. If this information doesn't come to light, Tyler's reputation is the perfect man. Like he's the perfect fiance, the perfect boyfriend. Like
Yeah.
that is a huge opportunity for branding, right? Like you
Hmm.
basically get women's support as a consumer group.
Yes,
You can
literally.
now kind of like you get women ages like 20 25 to 42, 44 like as a support group. You can pretty much sell anything at this point from cleaning products to food to this to baked goods, like
Yes.
whatever the case would
It's
be.
giving mom talk. I mean, this doesn't mean anything to you, but it's giving Mormon mom talk. Like that
Yeah.
is, yeah, the exact model. Oh my gosh. That is wild. I don't even
I was
ugh.
disgusted watching Tyler talk to Ashley's father, and like I was disgusted watching him talk to her about kids.
And
Like,
she
oh,
says that. She says
I
that in
want
their
to name them. I want
conversation.
to name them. Yeah,
Yes. And she says it in their last conversation where she's like, you were talking to me about
yeah.
these things. Like you had every opportunity to
And
actually bring these things
it's
up.
just the
Ugh.
amount of time he brings it up. So he did an interview with Nick Vile, and I saw a clip. I didn't watch the entire thing either.
Who is
But
that?
some guy with a podcast. I only know him because when the Love of Is Blind stuff comes out, he interviews like half of them all the time.
Oh,
So
sure.
I only really met him. I only really heard of him last year when he interviewed AD because I watched his interview with AD.
You.
Love you, Amber Desiree.
Yes, Miriam is the number one AD fan on the planet.
um, but what was I gonna say? He asked Tyler about this,
Mm.
and Tyler said he brought it up with Ashley off air, and she wanted to have the conversation on air, and that's bothersome too.
What do you mean? Like
He brought
he's
up the
saying
fact that he had kids off air,
yes,
and
but off
she
air when?
on during the filming of the show.
Well, yes, but like in the pods?
No, no, after Mexico.
So still too late.
Yeah, so she learned about it, and then so when they're having this conversation that we see, he probably brought it up like the night before after the camera crew went home.
Which this is what the third time we have some weird situation where like there is no camera crew around and we're having a really important conversation.
Well, no, they do have downtime where they're not filming. He chose specifically, like he planned to have this conversation with her when they
Offline.
weren't filming, and she was like, "No, I'd rather have it on camera." smart,
Very
Ashley.
smart. Very
Smart.
smart. Ugh.
Um,
Ugh.
so even that like is a little bit of like manipulation. Like there's an intentionality there to be like, yeah, let me wait until all of the camera crew goes home and I'm gonna sit you down for this important conversation and can we
Yes.
please keep it off air? And she was like, nope, like we're gonna talk about this while they're
No,
here
because if I'm
filming.
going to put myself out there in this way, then everyone's going to know the truth of the situation and not just have it be a he said, she said.
Yeah. But he's
Ugh.
lying to her like he's lying to her. Like we know like the sperm donor thing is still unclear to me. Like I know like Ricky and a lot of people on TikTok are like, no, he's clearly not a sperm donor. Like, but that apart,
I mean,
like
certainly
I
not
mean,
legally.
just his like track record with women, like the amount of like ex girlfriends and hookups and situationships that are like, this dude owes me money. He's a liar. He's a scammer. He lied to me about those kids too. I had to find out in similar way as Ashley. Um, like those stories are coming out like pretty much daily at this point. Like those screenshots, those interviews, those like they're coming out constantly. And I haven't even been able to wade through most of it.
I just, we don't need to have this full discussion, but my question is, at what point is it, and maybe Tyler's actually not a good example of this. Maybe the other person you told me about at the start of the episode is a better example, but at what point do you, is there is there ever an ethical obligation, not gender specific, if there is there ever an ethical obligation to not hire someone because they're really bad?
Yeah. Yeah, we're not dealing. Kinetic and Netflix are not ethical. That's, I mean, that's really what it is. None of these reality television shows are. They are constantly casting, specifically
Trauma.
for the most diabolical plot lines. What I would say though,
Yeah,
also,
it's in
um,
my ear.
you can vet people and people can lie. I don't think
Of
people
course.
can hide 3 kids when all they did was really just delete Instagram photos. Like
It's so
cause
funny.
half of these photos were on their grandmother's Facebook page, and this dude was tagged. So like we can't we can't look up his
Yeah.
name and cross reference the photos that he's been tagged in. We can't put his face into a Google reverse image search. So he can delete him off his profile as much as he wants. But like there are other people that have pictures of him on their public profiles with these children
Yeah.
and messages talking about this. There's the picture of him and his fiance getting engaged and the subsequent messages that she wrote about their breakup and why they broke up. Like that all I feel like could have been founded. And I think yes, Netflix does have a moral obligation um
Mm.
to not cast people. It's one thing when people deceive each other about their finances because that stuff is hard to vet sometimes, and
We've
that
had
might
that
not even be
before.
the sort of thing that Netflix does before they cast people because then you don't want to be like, oh, we only want people with 401ks.
Yeah,
um,
that's what happens with Izzy and whatever her name was a few seasons
like
ago.
that, it's
Absolutely.
one thing for stuff like that, but like Ashley was just entire. Like I feel bad for her. I don't really care about like Tyler. I don't really even care about his family. Like no shade.
No tea, no
But like
shade. No, of course.
but like Ashley also seems like she is somebody who did this in good faith.
In good faith. That's exactly my point. Is like it's if specifically for a show like this, maybe the bar is different obviously for other things, but for specifically a show like this where the entire premise is that you really act the reported premise is that you really actually do want people to fall in love. And at this point in time we're on season 7, so we've never I don't think have we had any divorces? Yes.
I mean, I
Um
don't know. I don't check up with these people after they leave the show. I'm sorry.
mhm. Oh no, I'm
I
just
don't really check on people after they leave the show unless something just hits my for you page.
yes, there's a couple I think that does get divorced, but um at this point in time, like we actually do have couples that have fallen in love, right? We have human children that exist now because of this. And so I feel like maybe like this is less important in season 1, but to me, like in season 7, it's kind of like now that we know that like this might actually work, like actually work, maybe we need to be a little bit more selective about who we let on the show.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. That's just how I feel about that, and especially with what you said about he who shall not be named. That
Oh, I'll say it. What Maddie
oh
is referring to is there are
I didn't know if you wanted to do that
Bowden
legally.
has like allegedly like multiple SA allegations. Yeah.
Yeah. And that is also very complicated, right? Because like that would require people to come forward, which is like not a fair thing to ask of
Yeah.
survivors. But I don't know, dude. Like I feel like
And there was another guy too, Jason. He didn't get shown much in the pods, but he also has
this
like,
season.
yeah, from this season. I think I actually mentioned him when in one of the episodes when I was talking about what the men were wearing in their pictures. I mentioned that he looked nice, and then like I was reading the Bodhi stuff, and then somebody else was in the comments like, here's the screenshots of the stuff about this guy Jason too that would have been on the
I
show.
just feel like, and I know, I don't know, I just can't really imagine a world where I would be part of the process. This is a bit of a double-edged sword or ethical conundrum, but where I would be part of the process of like hiring people or casting people, and I wouldn't want to like really dig into them. I don't know. I don't know. It's just making me
I
uncomfortable.
yeah, um, yeah, this sucks for her. I'm really
I'm really sad.
heartbroken for her, more
Ugh,
than
ugh.
anything, cause she was like so in on this guy as well too. Her father is in on this guy.
Yes, yes. Oh, and I actually do, not that it matters, but I also do kind of like feel bad for these three children too, because they did not ask to participate in this.
Yeah, you want to move
Sure.
on?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let's talk about Tim and Alex. I will say Tim looked good this whole episode. From the time they showed him in that little like salmon short, that little like orange colored short
Good,
with
like
a,
aesthetically
oh yeah,
good?
like attractive, handsome.
Oh, oh.
Yeah, yeah. The whole time I was like, damn, Tim looking kind of, Tim
That's
looking kind of high.
not a thought that occurred to me in the
Tim
slightest.
looking all right. Alex
Okay.
always looks good, but that apartment, babe, no, it. the all of episode 7, I was like, ooh, the tension.
Yeah. I feel like he still can't really look at her. Well, maybe
Yeah,
it got better.
through the dates, like yeah, I was thinking that too. Like through the bridge date, the driving date, all the way until they have that conversation on the four wheeler. Like
That bridge was scary, by the way.
I would love to do
I
that.
knew you were gonna
Oh
say
my
that.
God, that looks so fun. I was like, where are you in Mexico? Like, please, because I was in Mexico and I didn't have any the opportunity to do anything like
I
that.
would allow you to drive me on that.
I would love to do that. I would do that by myself. Full send, full throttle.
I I
Um,
bet you would. That's probably why they have a lead and follow car, so you actually can't go that fast.
I would walk. I would walk that thing too.
Oh
That's
hell
awesome.
no, absolutely not. Keep
That
going.
looks so good. Like, I mean, the views, everything. I didn't take too many notes on them. Tim looks good. Tim's Tim's apartment. Do we see his apartment before they go meet her parents? Yeah, I think so.
Ooh, I don't know. Ooh, I
Uh,
think I don't know. I actually do not know that.
okay. So
His apartment was nice though. I actually really did like it.
the first thing we see is uh the two of them getting ready for the day or whatever, right? And
Hmm.
they're both like talking to camera in their hotel room, just being like, yeah, things were tense, and we're just trying to get it back together. They go on their date. They have
Ooh, I have a
themselves a
question
good
for you.
time. Yeah.
Do you think Alex is really in love with him?
This I can't tell because I don't think
I
Alex
can't suss
likes
it
him. I
out.
don't think Alex likes him, and I think that like she's been a bit of a like a mean girl. Like she's so like she was the problem this time around. Like
100%.
she was the problem this entire job. I have been like anti Tim this whole time. Like even in like the most minor moments,
Mm.
like she just seems like always irritable. And like
I didn't want to say it.
she's just like
Yeah.
constantly like irritable, and I'm just like, what are you so upset? Her and Hannah, like
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, we won't even.
just constantly like upset. Like, what are you mad about, babe? Like,
No, I
and
don't have
he's
anything
like he's
important to
like
say.
a silly goofy guy, and I don't really like silly goofy guys,
Come
but like
on.
he was like fairly likable in most of this.
He just was
Like,
kind of neutral to me.
yeah,
Like,
right. Like he didn't
yeah.
really do anything offensive. I will say I wrote this when they first met each other on my first notes, and I was like, they look most like a real life couple that like I would see out. Um,
Yeah, they do. They just look very normal.
um, so
I really don't
after,
have any notes about them. I just,
I
mm-mm.
think after this, the next time that we see the pair of them is when they go to his house and they're. I mean, I will say his house was lovely.
Oh my
Um,
God, so lovely.
it was like there were a lot of knickknacks, more than I expected. Oh no, I don't think they see his house first. I think they go see her parents first. Um, he was
I
lovely in the
think
scene.
so because I remember
Yeah,
thinking, what kitchen are they in?
they go
Who's
see her. They go see her parents first. Um, her family was lovely. Did I write that? I didn't. I should have. Her
her family
family
was
was
very lovely.
her family was very very pleasant. I was like, so why are you so grumpy? Like her brothers just seem so. Maybe it's because she's like the oldest one, and she's just been getting annoyed her whole life.
I think
Um,
so.
and she's just like this is like her default
Yeah.
interacting with men.
I also thought it was a very I don't know how else to say
Oh
this without
yeah.
sounding crazy. Interesting cosmic moment that like she has two brothers and he had two sisters. Like it was,
Yeah.
I don't,
He has two
obviously
older
you know.
sisters and she has two younger brothers as
Yeah, and
well
I was
too.
like, ooh,
They really
eldest
are
sister,
they really are having the sibling relationship that I like cuz he pokes her like a little brother and she's irritable like an older
like an
sister.
older sister. Yeah, we got the
But it
older
seems
sister,
like her
younger brother
baseline is
dynamic.
irritability though, so I don't want to put all of that on his personality. Like
Yeah,
her baseline is irritability. She's always like not in the
she's
mood
always a
for
little bit
it.
irritable, but she
Um
seems to like constantly reinforce that she like really loves him to camera, and so I'm kind of like, do you?
I think she does it in just enough to him too. There, but
Yes.
I want to talk about the meeting because it seemed like she lied to her whole family. Oh no, no, because I did catch this when I went through and I looked at because I watched that scene twice. The second time she says everybody knows except my dad. So
Oh yes,
they basically
yes.
just pulled a ruse on her dad, and she's like, just tell
Yeah.
him we met each other, we're matched up, and we're trying to figure it out. And I'm like, you're engaged, sweetheart. Like.
Yeah, I was concerned about that at first until she said that everybody knows except for my father. And then we meet her father, and I was just like, yes, I feel like not telling him was probably a good idea because he seems like he'd be a very staunch traditionalist and be like, what the hell are you talking about?
He's cooking his steaks. Like it was also really thoughtful. You know what I thought was like funny when she was just like, "You want to go make the plates for her family?" I was like,
I
"Girl, he cooked the food, packed it all up, brought it in, and he over there making the plates and pouring the lemonade."
I thought that was funny. I thought that was so funny.
I
She
was
was like, go to the
dying. I was
place.
like, "Alex, what are you doing for your family to make them
Nothing.
feel welcome?"
Absolutely nothing. He was doing
uh,
literally all of it. And I thought that was very
uh.
funny. And he does it with no complaints too. So
Oh no, Alex's family was lovely. Tim was lovely. The like conversation that they had when they were all eating
we
was
haven't met
like
Tim's parents, right?
not yet. We're meeting them next time.
Okay.
The conversation that they're all having like when they're eating, so cute.
Mhm.
Like all the commonalities.
The
I was
food
like, this
looked
was like
good.
this was one of the best like family like meetups I've seen. The moment that he shares with her dad, and then when that like everybody comes back in, he's like, "Come meet your new brother." I was like, "Stop playing with
That
me."
was really,
Stop.
really sweet.
Because
And
I
again,
don't think your
yeah.
daughter's getting married, sweetheart. Like,
Cut the cameras. No, please.
I don't think your daughter's making it down the aisle with this man, and she finna break all of y'all's heart because they're so happy, and he's so like
They might keep him.
I can actually see like him being a bit of a catch, like
Yes, I actually do agree, but I think that they're gonna wish that they could keep him and
yeah.
trade her.
Anything else
Really?
on them?
No, not
This is the
really.
best that they've looked. I feel like
Her apartment was wild. That scared
I feel
me.
like Alex likes the fighting too. She needed that conflict to get good, and I think like she's gonna stir something up next week to for
Probably.
the
I
makeup.
just her apartment did scare me a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's what we didn't talk about. Her apartment, the audacity of this woman to be sitting inside of Tim's perfect, perfect little apartment,
Perfect. Perfect. Perfect.
talking
Perfect.
about his lazy boy and whatever she was talking about, and making faces at his oxygen masks and all his little knickknacks all over the place to
Perfectly
get to
curated.
her home. And there are 6 garbage bags on the floor, and she doesn't even know what's in them. Like I thought she was like, oh, this is all the stuff I'm throwing away and donating, and she's like, and some of that I need, so I still have to go through. What? This was she remember when she said there's a difference between messy and dirty? This was dirty.
This was
And
dirty.
this was dirty
And
and
a little bit
embarrassing because you knew those
hoardy.
people were coming over. Like,
Yes, and she well she says that she is well she says about clothes specifically that
yeah,
she's hoarding, but like that is what hoarding that's what hoarding looks like when it's
they
not even just clothes.
they were
Perfectly timed, bro.
when I tell you her apartment, I Hannah
Are
needs to
you
go over
looking at a
there.
picture of her apartment? Because your face looks like you're looking at a picture of her apartment.
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking at the garbage bag specifically. Actually, Hannah needs to get over there immediately.
Oh my God, Hannah, you give Hannah one Red Bull in 6 hours and she got that together.
Hannah needs to be over there immediately. Hannah needs to
Immediately.
leave her house after her Sunday refreshing head right over to Alex
In
every
fact,
week.
Hannah could literally afford to skip a Sunday refresh and just go over to Alex's apartment and fix it.
Oh my god, I
Fix
couldn't
it.
deal. Oh my god, I'm
That's
okay,
why
moving
Tim
on.
says, okay, oh, I was just, okay.
Oh, go ahead. I'm so sorry.
I was just
The
gonna say that
closet, it was just like failed. It was just like everything was just thrown on the ground, and it was like halfway up the closet,
it was halfway at the, and Tim says when they're
and there
in
was still
his,
stuff on the bed. Like you threw everything in the closet, and there was
we're
still
having fun
probably
talking about
2 weeks
this.
worth of clothes on the bed.
Yes. But when they're in Tim's apartment, like he very specifically says, and these are the sinks, and keep your stuff on your side.
The funny thing is, like when he walks in and he like goes to take his shoe off, I know he's thinking what I'm thinking. This is not the type of house you take your shoes off. He's like taking his shoes off at the door, and he's just like looking down at his feet, like,
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to. Hannah, Hannah, we need you.
look. He's looking down, like, oh my
We
god.
gotta put the Mrs. Dorka bat signal up so she
Oh
can
god. Oh
and go
god.
and go. Actually, honestly, Mrs. Dorka and the new Mrs. Dorka together.
Yeah.
Yes.
Garrett and Taylor, if you're ready.
Of course I'm ready. I love them as I literally always do. I again wish I hadn't watched the preview because whatever that conflict is where it looks like Taylor's crying, I'm automatically on her side. But I don't know, they just like I feel like Taylor to me was a lot more comfortable in this batch of
They seem
episodes.
much more like a couple now
Yeah,
than
they
we've
just seem
seen
kind of
before.
normal to
I
me.
I love Taylor. Garrett is a little dull for me. Like,
I want to talk about Taylor or Garrett's family.
yeah, what do you want to say? I don't have many thoughts on them.
I feel like his mom is I can't even well what I wrote was boy mom energy is gross. Cause it was giving boy mom energy. Like she was like way too, I
What
it made
specifically?
I just didn't like the like oh my god, this is gonna make me sound so terrible and I don't know how else to explain this. So
I mean, you are
prayers up.
terrible.
Well, she's not wrong. I don't know. It just like she was like too emotionally attached to a grown man that was her son to me. Like it was giving like this is my little boy and you can't take him away from me.
I don't know that I got that, but I also just
I
don't
know.
remember much of that scene. Um,
She was like
I
very
like
fixated.
when I got to the end, I was like, maybe she was crying because like he might be moving to San Diego. Like that's what I thought about. Like when I
Maybe.
got to the
But
end,
did they
she's.
mention oh wait,
I'm
do we
assuming they know. Like if he's
yeah.
thinking about moving to San Diego and he's talking about all that type of stuff,
Yeah.
like he's probably talking about it
But
with
also he
her.
says at one point like something about the emails his mom is sending him. And I was like,
Oh
first of all,
yes, okay, okay, yes. This I forgot about. This I remember because it seems like she's complaining. She's complaining about the process to him, is what he makes it seem like.
but also like, why are you emailing your child? You can't
People email.
text.
I know tons of people who email their moms.
That's news to me.
Well,
Okay, fair
it's
enough.
like old technology. Like I don't text my parents a lot. Like I always talk on the phone with my parents.
I was talking about them.
Um but like I know people who like do like weekly updates through email, and then they'll like call as well too, like during.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that is a lot more wholesome than I was thinking. I don't know. I just feel like she had like she was just too intense about Garrett for me in this whole process. Like, it was, to me, it was just giving like, this is my little boy and you can't take him away from
Yeah,
me. And I
maybe.
was like, he's a grown up.
I think I probably have more grace for her than like I don't I actually don't feel any type of way about her crying. Like I don't really know what she was crying about either. So, so I'm kind of like
And so I'm like,
okay.
well,
You're
okay,
maybe
like,
she might just be an emotional person. That's I'm giving her a lot of the benefit of the doubt because I
yeah,
can't
of
pretend
course
to
she could
feel
be.
a way that I don't.
Yeah,
Um
I don't know. I was like, ugh, let's move on.
I didn't think she. So when I think of like boy mom energy, like I was I if I say that I'd be expecting to see like proof or evidence of some sort of hostility directed at Taylor, like directly, like you know, and
You
it
don't think she
and
was being hostile toward Taylor?
no, that's what I'm saying. That I would expect to see that, and I didn't see that. That's why I'm not like I don't think
Oh, I
like
don't.
I
It
don't
read as very hostile to me.
I didn't really think of that it was much about Taylor. What I did kind of think was that like it seemed like in the moment that Taylor wasn't feeling accepted, and then she kind of like because she gave that like really beautiful speech, my queen, that beautiful, gorgeous speech about their love, and it didn't work because they were like, oh okay, but like I thought his sister seemed more hostile than his mom because there's a point where his sister is like let me just explain what mom is saying like it seems too quick like what why does it have to be so fast like and she kind of seemed like she was saying like I don't think y'all should get married.
Oh, that was
That
very
seemed
clear to
way more
me.
directly like I don't think y'all should be doing this. What his mom was doing just I was like some moms be emotional. It is what it is.
I don't know nothing about that.
It you
That's
know
not fair to my stepmom,
like
actually.
his family honestly didn't stick out much to me when I watched them.
I
I
wrote
thought
that
he
it
and
doesn't seem
her
like they
were
don't like her.
very cute in the scene. I thought he and her were like very cute in the scene, but
They were very
they were
cute, and he was
whatever.
just like rubbing her arm like under the table, and I was like, "Oh my God, you're so cute."
I do think that now that you say all that you say, I could see that like the way that he was like talking about her accomplishments and her educational background, maybe he was trying to make them feel more comfortable with her.
I really do think that that was what was happening. I don't know if I don't think this is like an on purpose dynamic in any direction, but it did, especially when he was like, "And I've never lived out of Fredericksburg." I was like, "What?"
So like this is like that's why I kind of didn't like. I mean, I grew up in Ohio. Like there are a bunch of people that come from like small towns in Ohio and they stay there.
That's
Like they
fair.
might come to Columbus or like whatever for work. They might drive like an hour or an hour and a half into Columbus for work, but like that's where they live and like they have
Yeah.
like I actually know someone that I used to work with and like the whole family like lives on a farm like in like their little farmhouses with each other and the son has
Yeah.
a wife and a kid and they live off over here like some people don't
People
leave
do
their
that.
most people don't leave their hometowns and most people don't move far away from their moms. Most people live in even in
Did you see that
yeah
research recently? Oh my
yeah
gosh, that made me kind of
but
emotional.
like that makes sense to me. No, most people don't leave where they grow up. Like they just move down the street or they moved a city over or whatever the case might be. Um, anything else on them?
No,
Oh,
I
I
just
mean, they
think
had
they're
like
really
really cute moments. Her friends were lovely. I don't want to seem like we're not giving them anything because they don't have drama. But like, I personally just don't really care much for Garrett.
he just seems
he's
like
sweet.
a he
Yeah.
seems sweet, and he seems like a man whose Instagram is entirely spearfishing catches, because that is literally apparently what it is.
Mm,
And so he just, I don't know, he just seems like normal, like
yeah.
kind of just neutral.
Yeah.
But I
She's
am really excited about them.
she's very charismatic. She's very magnetic and like
I love
he
Taylor.
doesn't seem as such, but they get along and that's cute.
I
Um
really hope they make it. I really like them.
Mr. and Mrs. Dorka, Hannah and Nick,
Nikki's Cuban?
allegedly. I mean,
Allegedly.
what does it really mean to be Cuban though? Like, yeah, what does that
Let's
mean?
not start that.
Well,
Oh my
like
God.
no, I'm like asking like Cuban is a nationality. His mother is born in Cuba. She could be a white lady from Cuba. Like, what does that mean?
And she's
Cause
literally
she
a
is a
white
white
lady.
lady, right? Like I think you're
I
saying
think
it because
so.
you're like he's like spicy and Latino, but like no, like he's from a white woman, he's white. Like he's from a white
That's
woman
fair,
who
because
speaks
I
he's
was
from a white
thinking
woman
that
who speaks Spanish.
yeah, he was just like white, white, like white American white, I guess is what I'm trying to say, not like white,
Mm,
like European. Mrs. Dorka did remind me of my stepmom, and she was really cute, and I really appreciated that.
cute.
Um, uh, I I want to know if you noticed this, but I feel like Nick gets a little loose with the alcohol. Did you notice a pattern with that?
Mm-mm.
Because when they're with Hannah's brother, I
Mm-hmm.
think. Like, I feel like he just gets like
Wasn't
a
it Cade?
little
Gabe? What was that child's name?
Cade, Cade.
Okay. That was a cute.
Wait, Hannah has two brothers.
Hannah has two brothers. One of them is a little baby.
I think it was funny that like Hannah went to the bathroom and Kate was like, she is kind of mean. Like, you could be
That
great.
like
Yeah.
legitimately. I my the first note I wrote about Hannah, and I don't even remember what it was about, is that Hannah is valid but rude.
Very rude.
um
But what do you think about her rudeness in the context of like her mom being like, you seem stressed out?
well, I want to talk about her and like Nick's relationship. I
Okay.
didn't expect Hannah the homemaker Bree Vandekamp of it all.
What do you mean?
when they get to her apartment, when oh, I know exactly what I wrote that note about. When they first get to their apartment and they're in there sitting, and she's like, um, what does she talk about? It's the point where they talk about splitting chores and they talk about grocery shopping and like,
Oh, yes, yes,
who's gonna
yes.
pay what? Like, how are we gonna divide labor up in the home? How are we gonna divide like finances,
Hmm.
right? I thought it was like a very valid conversation. And I actually was
Yes.
looking at him like, what was wrong with you? But she's saying all the right things. She's just saying it like very mean. She needs some of
And
the
she's
tact.
looking at him like he is stupid.
She needs some of the tact that Marissa's mom needs. Like, she needs the tact
That's
that Taylor
valid.
had in the scene with the parents, the patience and the just like
Yes.
the ability to like step out of yourself, view the other perspective, and then kind of like
She
understand and like
does correct herself though in that scene at the end, if we're talking about the same scene,
yeah, what did
where
she do?
she says something along the lines of like one thing I'm really noticing about myself is that like, like I really want things a particular way, like the Hannah way, and I get really unhappy with people who aren't willing to do it my
She's really me
way.
for real. She's really
You're
me
not
for
going to get any
real.
arguments from me.
Love that for her. Love that for me too, honestly.
Love that for you.
What do
Yes.
you think of this is what I said, Hannah's brother and family. Again, I don't bro, when your own brother her own brother was like, but it's also funny because he's like, she's the first person I came out to. She was so supportive, like we've always been really close. And then she's like, yeah, but and then when she leaves, he's like, yeah, she says stuff to me sometimes it's like really mean.
It
And
seemed
then
like
when
a
I
cry
give
for
him,
help.
it was a support group. If you have been personally victimized by Hannah, please meet here. Like,
And that's why I was like confused at the, well, not confused, but like the situation was complicated by her mom saying like, what is going, like a version of basically, what is going on with you, why are
Well,
you
I think
acting
her, I
like
think her
this?
whole family kind of sees her as like the loud mouth, like, cause she even says it at some points that like I'm kind of like, cause when she's talking him up to her family, she's like, he's just really chill and cool, and I'm really just like, hey y'all, how's it going? She like makes fun of her accent, uh, but I think that's how her brother sees her too, right? That's why her
Yeah.
brother was like, she's the first person that came out with, because I knew she was just like the kind of woman that like doesn't take shit and is like always gonna stand. And it seemed like he was saying I admired that about her. Like she's the
Yeah.
sort of person that like is not like concerned about what other people think in a way that it like debilitates her, but she does
Mhm.
need to care about what people think a little bit.
She
Um
does. But I also kind of think this is just something that will wash with age.
I think so too. Cuz
She's 26.
like Hannah seems like I said, Hannah seems a lot like me, and I'm a lot less like this at this
Yeah.
point now.
Yeah.
Nick, the basement bachelor pad.
I feel like they did him so dirty
They
with
did
him
him
standing in
greasy.
front of his house like that, just explaining uncut for like three
Mm.
minutes about why he lives in the
I thought he did a
basement.
good job. I don't think he has anything to be embarrassed about here, but
Oh,
I think he should be ashamed because clearly he misrepresented himself to the girls in these pods. So clearly he's ashamed of
oh.
it. Like I think that's
Does
the
he talk about how he lives?
not on camera, not to us, but like she mentions it. She's like, Nick, you said you had a pool table. Like when you said you had a pool table, I imagined this. I didn't imagine it in a
Oh,
closet with a bunch of boxes on top of it. Like I thought it would be like at the center of the
but did
apartment.
he say that Hannah knows that he lives with his parents?
Yeah, yeah, but I think there's like
You feel
there's
like he misrepresents how he lives with his
yes,
parents.
I think there was like
Okay.
some sort of like and it like and also his basement apartment really just looked like the old furniture that his parents his parents updated their living room and then they like pushed a bunch of stuff downstairs. Like it doesn't what I mean is it doesn't look like any like
His
personal
apartment.
touches from him, like any sort of like design choices were made by him, right? Like if
No.
someone tells me, because I mean I used to like yeah we had a basement in our house and we had a bedroom down there. My brother lived in that room, and
Mhm.
like if you went in there, it like looked like my brother's room, and it had like
Lived
his
in there.
gaming systems and his this and his that and his that, and it was like his space. I mean, he was also in high school, so like maybe whatever. Um,
Not a fair comparison to
no,
Mr.
well, no,
Dwarka.
I'm not judging Nick at all for like living at home with his
Mm.
parents, like in his age or whatever. Like, come on, like, come on.
I no, I was 27 when I moved out, so
Yeah, like that's just I'm also Nick. No, you don't need to be ashamed, boo. Like I don't pay my own cell phone bill either. That's what the family plan is for. I don't know what she's
I
talking about.
that moment in time
I
is
will never
confusing
pay
to
your cell phone bill. What are you talking about?
like it would not even like when she was asking the other questions, I was like, yes. But then when she was talking about the cell phone, I was like, why would you want to pay your own cell phone
Now,
bill?
not knowing whether or not you have car insurance, embarrassing.
Embarrassing. Also put you in a dangerous place legally too.
What was I gonna say? Like, I don't know. The
I
cleaning.
think he
I want to talk
sleeps
about
down there and he spends a lot of time upstairs with his parents.
what does that have to do with anything? Why would you say that?
Oh, because I was responding to something else I was responding to like the furniture situation, the fact that there's no personal touches. I feel like he just like
He
sleeps
doesn't
down
play.
there.
He doesn't play PlayStation. He don't play no Madden. He don't got no gaming console
But I feel like that's probably all upstairs, is what I'm saying.
to throw down there. Okay, and then I think that's a misrepresentation too. Like,
No,
I
but
don't think
yes.
it changes anything about like what I think is going on and why she's
Mhm.
like, I mean she's judgy, but I think also why she's judging it so hard is that he made it seem like
He made it seem very
like I'm at
different.
home with my parents because I just left professional football, but like this is like where I live. I plan to live here for a year. Da 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 da. Like you know,
Yeah. And he, again, I don't think Hannah and Nick should be together. Um,
I came around on them by the end of this episode.
really, I feel
Hmm.
like it got worse.
What do you think about? I guess we kind of brushed over the money stuff. What do you think about the pasta? This was like the one thing
Oh my
that
gosh.
Nick did that infuriated me. Like, and also I hated how she responded to because I would have not poured that water for him. I would have been like, do what you think is best, and
I
dinner would have been
don't know.
ruined, and we would have just not had anything to eat.
The hard noodles part two.
I would have been on my way to Chipotle. I would be like, nah, you the pasta boiler, go ahead and boil the pasta, and I would have been, you would have ruined it, and I would have been on my way to Chipotle, and I'm not getting none for you.
I why? Okay, I try to be really understanding in this.
There's no understanding for this.
Why did he open the fridge?
This was like where I was like, you have to be joking. Like you have to be kidding. And especially because he said he boiled pasta before forget make a dish, right? He again, this is what I think. Like Nick gets excited and just start talking when they were on the couch. He was like, I can make steaks, I can do this, I can make tuna salad, macaroni salad, pasta, this, that, salad, like, and
He also doesn't seem to be able to make any of his cultural food either.
why would he be able to make any of that? Like
No, but
he
like
can't
that's
boil pasta. That never came up. Like you're
I
also
just
guessing you don't know that he can't do that. That never came up. But like
but
he
if
can't
he
make
can't
pasta.
boil pasta, you're telling me you can make ropa vieja, but you can't boil
Yeah,
pasta?
probably. Low rice,
Oh.
low meat, low tomato, low avocado. Let
I
me
did
tell
not
you,
like the way Hannah cut the avocado, by the way. That has nothing to do with
the
anything.
diced avocado. Why
I
not?
just didn't like the close up of her hand on the avocado, that's all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
He seems to be even him being a real estate agent, he does seem to want to present himself in a very particular way.
He seems directionless. I'll be honest. But that's
Directionless? Is that what
yeah,
you said? Yes,
yeah.
of
But
course,
that's
yeah.
not uncommon with like former athletes. Like after they are no
Oh.
longer those things, they have to find a way to exist in the world again. And I think
Mhm.
that's where he is, and that's probably why he shouldn't be getting married. But I do think that like they kind of seem like a real cute couple. I want to talk about now though her family.
Oh.
What do you think about Hannah's mom and dad? Very lovely people.
Yeah, there's nothing remarkable, like
Yeah.
remarkable, negative, derogatory, I should say,
No, the only reason
about
I
them.
bring it up is because of the fact that they kind of were like looking at they were like, "Bro, you got to chill." They were
That's what
looking
I
they were
said.
kind of looking at her like her dad was like, "I don't got no questions for him. He seems fine. Seems like a good guy." Now you just have to they
That's
were
when her
they
mom
were
was
they were
like,
very subtle like now you just have to like make it work. Like now you just have to not screw things up, right? Like even dad and I
hmm
have like our things like even but that's like normal, like
yeah.
Nick and Hannah's parents. Oh, Nick, Hannah's cleaning. I wanted to talk about this. Her like obsessive cleaning. I called her Brie Vandekamp, but she's like Brie Vandekamp season 1, like
I don't know who, do I know who Urbana Camp is?
Desperate Housewives.
Okay,
Brie
good
has
enough.
like an obsessive tendencies on the show. She's characterized as having such, and
It
like there's
was giving control.
yes.
I won't say control freak because I don't know if it's like if she actually maybe is suffering from OCD, so I don't want to be that mean, but I was like,
I
okay,
honestly, she's who I aspire to be. I aspire to
that
be like
doesn't surprise me in the
this.
slightest.
I aspire to be this diligent about my like. I'm neat-ish, although this room looks kind of crazy right now. And like, well, I'm always clean. That's for sure. But I'm like pretty neat. This is where I want to be in life. In life, she scrubbed the oven door twice in the countertop. I was like,
That's what I wrote about this.
that's
I
when
said
I
Hannah's paper towel usage is wild.
Bro, this is when I was like, she for sure has to have like an issue. Like because she like wiped the counters. Um she like wiped the counters, like did something, cleaned the oven, like cleaned the stove top, opened the oven, cleaned it, threw the paper towel away, and then grabbed more and did the exact same actions like a second time in a row and I was like, maybe she doesn't just like a clean space. Maybe like she has a
I don't
problem.
think it's just liking your clean space.
Yeah. Okay.
Which God bless her. Like that's between her and a licensed professional.
The Dorcas. What do you think about the Dorcas?
They're cute.
They were lovely.
I was gonna say her her oh my god, her ropa vieja looked fantastic. I was very hungry.
I that aside, I thought Nick's parents were like so lovely. I see why
Oh
Nick
my
lives
god,
at
they're so
home. Like these
cute.
are the type of parents that will like show up for their kid like after he loses his professional football career, right? And just
I
give him like a
loved
place
all
to
of
live.
the art, not the right word.
The
Photos.
decoration. Um,
The like
I like this
generational
house. This house.
photos.
I love how decorated this house was. It
Beautiful
looks like
house.
really, really like well lived in.
Yeah, I
Nick
really like
Nick seems
them.
to like he comes from like a really, really great
Yeah.
family.
He has
Hannah was
siblings, right?
so great in this 5 minutes of television. And this is when I was like, she likes him. She likes him a lot.
I think she
Like the
does.
gifts were so nice and thoughtful. Like the father's golf balls, the mom's like salt and pepper
So
shaker,
thoughtful,
and the
yes.
dish. Like and even the way she presented it, like talking about it. Nick told me you guys liked like you really like pineapple, so
Where
I
did
got
she find those pineapple salt and pepper shakers
right.
so
That's what I was thinking. She was like, so
quickly?
I got you this like a salt and pepper shaker, and I got you this dish. You can use it for when you're hosting to serve your dips and stuff.
Yeah.
And I know you're very particular about your golf balls. So I was like, she liked that.
She was so cute. Oh my gosh.
I was like, oh, like this is not a side of her personality that we've seen much.
No, her being very like essentially very soft. Yes. I Nick is a very lovely boy and it has nothing to do with living at home or anything like that. But once he opened the fridge looking for the pasta, I was like, I want Hannah to have better. I'm sorry.
I think like I hate to do this. I blame Nick Mama, and she kind of like takes some.
100%.
Well, I mean, not 100%. Nick is a grown man. He should have learned. He should have taught himself these things by now. He should know. But like, she kind of even like clocked to it where she was like, you know what? I probably like coddled my kids a little bit.
Yes. Yes.
But it was because
I'm
like we had
adorable.
we had all of these things going on, and I I I was important for us to have these family time and this support and this that and the third. Um,
Yeah. I just feel like Nick's pretty normal.
I
That's all.
I think they're like there's a lot of him that wants to like get this stuff right. I don't think Hannah is the woman to do it with though. She doesn't have the patience for it.
That is exactly
Like
what I
I
mean.
think he realized just how like inexperienced and like unprepared he is to be here, but like he wants to like he is it seems like he wants to like do it. But he also like he the only way he knows how to like participate is like through his mom who probably like held his hands and was just like, "No, don't worry about it." Like
Yeah,
and
the
Hannah
opposite of Steven.
yeah, and Hannah doesn't have the patience to like teach Nick how to boil pasta. Mm.
Side note, speaking of pasta and noodles, going back to Mar and Rams, um, does she say al
Al
dente at
Alla Dante, and I thought she was being funny there. I'm surely she has to know. She has to have heard the phrase al dente. Like if she said al dente before, surely someone has corrected her.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if she was joking or not. And I was
I
like,
assumed she was joking around. I assumed like maybe it's like an inside joke between friends or family, and she just
yeah.
like brought it to Ramses.
Do we have any more people?
That was the last couple.
Okay. Are we doing predictions?
Yeah.
Okay. As
Uh,
usual, my predictions are we gonna say yes at the altar? Will you give me a couple names?
Stephen and Monica.
This is just like when you said Leo and Brittany last time.
Yeah, of course.
No.
No. It's a no for me too.
It's a no for me,
I
dog.
don't remember. I
Yeah.
should have wrote down what it was last week to see who's still on. Ramses and Marissa.
Yes.
It's a yes for me also.
They're still on my I
I
don't
think
want them to
Ramses
list.
might pull a Clay, but
Ooh,
it's a yes for me now.
no. I don't want them to be together, but I do fear the answer is yes.
Tyler and Ashley.
No.
God willing, it's a hell no.
Hell no. My God,
God
Ashley,
willing, you never
please.
know, baby. I watch Married at First Sight. The women on there be desperate. Let's just call it that.
Yeah.
Tim and Alex.
No.
No, I saw that preview. My parents, sorry, excuse me. My parents drove here, and as soon as the camera left, you went to sleep. That better be the last straw for Tim.
Yeah.
It really should have been the apartment, but that better be it. He's kind of made a full turn on me now. I'm kind of digging Tim.
I agree. I agree. I still think it's
Uh,
weird how often he looks into space, but it's fine.
Garrett and Taylor.
Yes.
This one I'm conflicted on. Mm,
Yes, and I hope so.
yeah, we'll say yes. Hannah Nick.
No.
I think yes.
Wow.
They seem promising. Depending on what's going on with Baltimore Ravens correspondent Katie next week,
Oh my God, yes.
we'll
Oh,
see.
I forgot.
Yeah, we will see. We shall see. But I think it's a yes. Assuming that that's like a little misdirect and like, Nick is not
God
actually
hoping.
planning to sleep with Katie or something like that.
God hoping. I still think Nick gets a little loose off the goose and just starts yapping.
God. What a cast though. Beautiful cast. Love
Was
them.
that all of our couples?
That was all six of them.
Oh,
That was a lot
okay.
of people. I'm so tired.
Thank y'all for watching and or listening to this episode of the Reality Roundup. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe to help a blossoming, burgeoning Black podcast. And stay tuned, obviously, for next week where we will do the next batch of episodes of The Love Is Blind, which I believe come out on Wednesday,
Yep.
the episodes themselves on Netflix. And then, of course, if you haven't checked out our content around MTV's The Challenge, please do so as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.